Hello boys and girls, follower and those of you who will be following. I know I do a lot of Canon reviews basically because I love Canon and I have Canon myself. But today I'm gonna introduce the Nikon 14-24 f2.8 super wide angle zoom lens. Why do you think you need this lens instead of a simple fisheye? Easy, because this lens tries to keep the edges straight instead of distorting them. So let's go ahead. The build quality of this lens is quite good. To get from 14 to 24mm just takes one hand movement to get through the entire focus range, while using the manual focus just takes also one hand movement. The autofocus is quite good, and the only thing I'd like to mention, don't get too close to your subject. If you look through the viewfinder, things might appear quite far away, but they're actually not. So take care not to scratch your front element, which could be a little bit expensive if you do that. The lens itself has a great build quality and feels just great in my hands. It weighs 1000 grams, which is not that light, but it makes it feel quite solid. And there's this huge front element. It's really hard to find a filter for that lens if you avoid using Google. Therefore I went a step ahead and put a link in the description below for the right filter to use for that lens. So keep looking. The focus on this lens is quite quick. I tested the focus on the D750 and it took the shot within 1 second. And it was in focus. So a helpful lens when it comes to architecture or street photography. At the moment, this lens will cost you around 1,800 bucks. Because I got asked on every product if someone's able to vlog themselves, I need to mention it. Yes, you can vlog yourself using the 14 to 24mm. I mean, it was designed to make architecture photographers happy after they spent this huge amount of money. But nevertheless, you can use it to record yourself on your city trips or on holiday. And you get a maximum aperture of f2.8. So quite a solid companion. One thing about Frankfurt is we don't have that much of flowers because it's a city, and to show you, yes, this lens is great for taking flowers or macro shots as well. I feel this little rubbish flower and I'm gonna show you how close you get with this lens, so enjoy it. And here is the good message. You can get as close as 280mm to your subject if you keep the zoom between 18 and 24mm. With the closest focusing distance, you can get some stunning macro shots at a maximum angle of 114 to 84 degrees with a great blurry background. Let's get to the bokeh of this lens. f2.8 gives you a creamy bokeh which works best if you make use of the full frame sensor. I would not use that lens specifically for portraits, but the best part about photography is that there are no borders. So feel free to use that lens for every occasion that suits you. Now let's focus a little bit on the zoom of the 14 to 24mm. Don't expect too much of a difference because it's only 10mm, but those 10mm sometimes make the difference. Especially when it comes to architecture photography or any other kind of photography where space matters. For instance, nightclub photography, so taking shots in bars or clubs, or if you're into landscape photography. Unfortunately, at 14mm you will notice that the edges won't be that straight anymore. And if you stand right in front of a building, something like a skyscraper or so, you will see that the building's falling into the background. If you shoot at 24mm, this problem is not so pronounced anymore. The edges stay where they should be and it gives a more natural look to your footage. I was really impressed about the performance of this lens when it comes to chromatic aberrations. Because I kept looking at some of these shots, I was zooming in, I was zooming out, picked up some details, and obviously I couldn't find any chromatic aberrations. On some edges there was kind of a little green stitch, but that's all. If you want to check it out by yourself, these files are available for download, the link is in the description below. And of course you can expect some vignetting on this lens as well. Starting wide open you will notice a bit of vignetting, which is not that much. Just go to Photoshop or Lightroom and you will see it's not kind of an issue really to talk about. If you stop down to f4 you will see by yourself that vignetting is not noticeable anymore. If you don't like lens flare, you better skip this part. Because I noticed the biggest lens flare while pointing the lens in an angle of about 30 to 45 degrees to a light source. Pointing this lens directly into the sun prevents those intense lens flares on your final photo. But anyways, Lens flare sometimes looks pretty cool as well, and overall, I mean, it gives your photo a special look, doesn't it? Yeah, let's get on with some highlights of the super wide angle zoom lens. 14-24mm covers a lot, especially when space matters. A fast aperture of 2.8 and a nice bokeh are the major advantages of this lens. I know, it's always the price, which is not cheap, with 1,800 to 2,000 bucks. At 14mm the edges fall into the background and the lens flare is marked a lot at low angles. As usual, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed watching this review in English. If you have any questions, leave me a comment below and I try to answer you as fast as I can. There are many photos available from this video. The link is in the description below for private use only. If you want to test this lens before buying it, go to Frankfurt's favorite camera store at the central station. GM-Foto will help you out there. All the gear I'm using, check out the description below for details. See you soon and don't forget to subscribe. Canon EOS 5D Mark IV is coming up next.